Deep within a mystical forest, shrouded in ancient trees and whispering winds, stood a grand castle. This wasn't a place of joy and laughter. No, this castle held a secret, a handsome prince trapped under a terrible spell. A wicked witch, fueled by scorn and jealousy, had cursed him. The prince was doomed to live as a spirit imprisoned inside an iron stove. Only true love's kiss could break the curse. But who would find love in such a cold metal prison? The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into years. The prince remained trapped. Hope began to dwindle like the last embers of a dying fire. He longed for a kind heart and a gentle touch. He wished for someone to see past the curse and into his soul. One sunny afternoon, a beautiful princess wandered into the forest. She had lost her way while chasing a playful butterfly. Deeper and deeper she went, the trees becoming denser, the air thicker. The princess felt a shiver run down her spine. Even though the sun shone brightly overhead, she knew she was lost. Suddenly, she stumbled upon a clearing, and there it was, the grand castle. Relieved, the princess hurried towards it, hoping to find help. As she drew closer, a strange sight caught her eye. In the courtyard, a simple iron stove stood alone. It seemed so out of place. Curiosity piqued. She approached it cautiously. The princess peered into the stove's open door. To her surprise, she saw a young man inside. He was handsome, with kind eyes, but his expression was filled with sadness. The prince, for it was he, told her his sorrowful tale and the curse that bound him. Touched by his plight, the princess vowed to help. She rushed back to her father, the king, and told him everything. The king, moved by his daughter's compassion, promised the prince's freedom in exchange for the princess's hand in marriage. Overjoyed, the prince agreed. However, when the king saw the plain iron stove, he had second thoughts. He couldn't bear to give his daughter to someone trapped in such a way. The king, breaking his promise, sent his soldiers back to the castle. They tried to carry the stove back to the kingdom, but it was too heavy. He then sent his strongest knights. They couldn't budge it either. Disappointed, but determined, the princess refused to give up. She knew in her heart that the prince was good and kind. She wouldn't let him down. The princess returned to the castle alone. She stood before the iron stove, her heart filled with a mix of fear and determination. "Don't worry," she said to the prince, her voice unwavering. "I will find a way to free you." Vanished. The prince is gone. The princess spent days and nights by the stove, talking to the prince, sharing stories and offering words of comfort. One evening, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the clearing, the princess turned to enter the castle. She needed to find some firewood. As she turned back, her heart skipped a beat. The iron stove was gone. Panic surged through her. Had someone taken the prince away? Had the witch returned? She searched and searched, but the stove was nowhere to be found. Exhausted and heartbroken, the princess made a decision. She would find the prince no matter the cost. The kindness of toads. With only the clothes on her back and a small pouch of food, the princess set off into the vast forest. Days turned into nights as she journeyed over hills and through valleys, following winding paths and crossing rushing streams. She was tired, hungry and scared, but she never gave up hope. One evening she came across a crystal-clear pond. 3 friendly toads were sitting on a lily pad. They listened intently as the princess shared her tale of woe. Touched by her devotion, the toads decided to help. They gave her 3 magical items, a golden key, a silver loaf of bread, and a silken dress. "These will guide you to your prince," croaked the eldest toad. A trail of glittering objects. The princess thanked the toads and continued on her journey, her heart lighter with renewed hope. She followed the shimmering trail left by the golden key, unlocking hidden paths and secret meadows. The silver loaf of bread never ran out, sustaining her on her journey, and each night she wore the silken dress, its soft fabric comforting her like a warm embrace. Finally, the trail led her to a towering mountain, its peak shrouded in mist. The princess knew in her heart that the prince was somewhere within. She began to climb, her resolve hardening with each step. The climb was treacherous, but she never faltered. Reunited at last. Deep inside the mountain, the princess discovered a hidden castle, and there, in the center of the grand hall, was the iron stove. But this time, it was different. The stove was adorned with precious jewels, its surface shimmering with an ethereal glow. And standing beside it, free from his curse, was the prince. The princess rushed into the prince's arms, tears of joy streaming down her face. He held her close, his heart overflowing with gratitude and love. The magical items had done their work. The golden key had unlocked the mountain, the silver loaf had nourished her spirit, and the silken dress had guided her with its enchanted threads. True love's triumph. The prince explained that the witch, realizing the princess's unwavering love, had been forced to release him. The princess's courage and determination had broken the curse. Together they left the mountain, their hearts filled with happiness. As they descended, the once imposing iron stove transformed into a beautiful carriage, pulled by majestic white horses. News of their return reached the kingdom. The king, realizing the depth of his daughter's love and the prince's worth, welcomed them with open arms. He apologized for his earlier doubts and gave them his blessing. The magic of the iron stove. And so the prince and princess were married. The celebration lasted for days, filled with music, laughter and dancing. The tale of their love and adventure became a legend, passed down through generations. The Iron Stove is more than just a fairy tale. It's a story of true love conquering all. It highlights the power of determination and the importance of keeping promises. It reminds us that looks can be deceiving and that true beauty lies within. And it assures us that even in the darkest of times, hope, courage and love can light our way.